Tom's painting tips. Let's get some tips from Tom.
Yay!
Today, Tom from Corporate Coatings is going to show us the simple way to paint a wall. So, tell the guys what's involved.
Easy to do. We've prepared the floor. We've got our drop sheet down. We've got our pot of paint here. Got my steps. We're going to start working under the corners. So always start up the top, work your way down the sides and along the bottom. And I'll show you some easy steps on how to do that. This is called cutting in, where we use our brush to work along the underneath side of the corners.
Okay, show us how it's done.
Dip it into the paint such as this. We mark our line. We just start a little bit under the corners because you don't want a fully loaded brush right underneath that corner there. So we start here and we bring the brush slightly up. And we draw a straight line like that.
Would it be easier if you use masking tape?
A lot of people do use masking tape, but I think in this situation it'll only make your job more difficult. It's easy just to start, as I did before, just slightly under the corners and bring your brush up gradually.
Okay.
Carefully, but you bring it to that underneath section. We don't want a heavy brush mark along here because later when we use our roller, we don't want that joint showing. Keep in mind that most walls need 2 top coats. So we put on low sheen here. Once it's dry, we put on another coat of low sheen.
Cool.
Wall will be perfect then. Now when we get to the bottom, a lot of people do run masking tape along the bottom because they're worried about their wall paint touching the skirtings. But if you're confident in yourself, you can do it by hand, otherwise put the masking tape down. But I'll show you how to do it by hand first. Same principle as up the top, start a little bit above the skirting and work your way down to it. And a nice even brush stroke.
Now, I've noticed you don't hold the paintbrush like I do. I'm not a pro. So, is there a technique to the way you hold the brush?
Well, this is the way I do it. I like using brushes that got longer handles, gives you a bit more reach at times. And I just hold it like such in my hand and work it out of the pot. Last bit of the wall, what we have to do is cutting around the power point, and that's an easy process. Same thing, don't apply too much paint, brush around it. And I'll give you a little tip here. What I like to do, brush around it like this, ready for rolling, but I like to smooth the corners out so we don't leave any lines there.
You finish cutting in. Now what?
What we do now, we're ready to roll, and what I do now, the paint that we had previously that's left over in this heavy tin, I'm going to pour it into the tray. We're going to use the tray to do the wall application.
Cool.
Just hold the tin like this, pour it in, enough to do the wall. We attach it to a roller handle, we screw it in as such, simple process. Without this, you're going to make the job a lot harder. Telescopic beam, we can use different lengths.
Oh, awesome.
It's a lot easier when we roll the wall, we're not bending our backs too much and not hurting ourselves. Use it at a comfortable length. I'll show you how to go about it.
Okay, show me.
Get our tray, take it over near the area where you're going to start. In my case, I like to start this side and work right to left. I'll load up the roller. Loading up means preparing it. Put the first batch of paint on there. And what I like to do, instead of rolling up and down immediately, I like to put a roller along the bottom.
Why do you do that, Tom?
Reason being, so when it comes to my roller work, I can roll right down to the bottom and my texture mark is near the skirting board. So I don't have a big heavy brush mark and then a roller mark starting 2 or 3 inches above it. Always start in the corners and work your way along the wall. So just nice easy roller strokes up and down the wall. And that's how easy it is.
Great job, Tom. That looks great.
Does look great, but there's one more thing to it. Needs another coat, so we've got to wait for this to dry, put the second coat on, and it'll be completed. It'll look even better.
So you repeat exactly what we've done the first time, is that right?
That's exactly right. Cut it and roll it.
And then it'll look $1 million.
It will.
Tom, you showed us how easy it is to do. Now, can anyone do it?
Just about anyone. If you're pretty talented with the tools, rolling, the techniques that I've showed you, you can have a go at it. But if you get into trouble, you can always call on a pro.
There you go. It is easy to do, but if you really want a really good job done, call a professional like Tom, and you can get a job done like this as well.